I feel like I'm doing the right thing, regardless
Hey,
how much like pushback I get for doing
hold
and
on.
speaking up. Joe says, great videos. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much.
Let's wind it back. Let's wind it back. Peace, peace, y'all. Hey, Charlamagne, we live. We live. We live. But let me talk to y'all a little bit about what they say black fatigue is, and I'm pretty sure you guys already know what they say black fatigue is, but I'm gonna show you the reasons why I don't believe it exists, or at least in my mind. You know, these people come up with new fucking terms and shit. They be so fucking stupid. And then they got other fucking races using the term like it's a real term, and they just cool with that. But anyway, not races, ethnicities. But let's go into this. You know, but also this lady right here, this Carmen JC, she makes solid videos. For the most part, she's right. But this I want to touch on because this is something pressing to me from both my parents. They were teachers at one point. That's not their jobs now, but at one point, you know, my father, he was a music teacher, and my mother, she taught in children's church and, you know, Bible school and shit like that. So she taught kids, but not in the school system. And my cousin Pat was also a teacher. She taught kids in the school system. So this is something very dear to me. I always believe that education starts at home. In fact, I've always said that when I have kids, that either I'm going to homeschool them or there's going to be a significant part in their youth, in their time, where they're just with me. And not to say that I'm not going to be with the mom, but there's certain things that I got to teach them that no other person can teach them because they're my kids and because I've learned in this world. So let me give you this knowledge because they're not going to give you this knowledge in school. And that's the problem. You know, my parents, you know, my father taught me he worked 12 hours a day, sometimes 16, sometimes more than that. And he still him, you know, they still taught me how to read and everything and how to write phonics. They taught me. My pops was a police officer, so he actually pulled out law books, and that's how I learned how to read, off of law books. So I was reading laws when I was like 4 years old, and I still got some of those books in here, which is funny. But so it's like the parents definitely have an integral part in your kids. You should not just be sending them to school and being like, fuck it, school will take care of it, because they're only at school 8 hours a day. What about the other 16 hours a day? You just gonna not let them learn? You're not gonna teach them anything? You're gonna teach them bullshit, teach them how to smoke, drink, party, teach them how to steal, rob. But anyway, look, teach them how to cut up, how to be stupid. But anyway, look, this girl is very thought out, and she puts other people in her videos to explain more her point. And I like that, but some of her points are off, at least in my opinion. But I want to react to what she's saying. So we gonna run it while I roll up.
You're not complaining about dropping hundreds of dollars on designer fits for children who can't read. But
all right, now first point, I agree with that 100%. That parents nowadays, and I know they did it before, but nowadays it's so much, my kid gotta wear Jordans, or he gotta wear these, or he gotta have this Prada on, or this designer on, when if anybody who knows kids, they grow out of that shit in 2 seconds. In a couple of months, they gonna be out of it. So you spent $300 that you don't have, because you barely, you had to say you barely had that $300 when you bought them sneakers. And then he's out of it in 4 months, and then you getting mad at him. Damn, why you growing so fast? You got to slow down. I ain't blah, blah. I ain't got the money for that. But if you had went and bought $25 Asics shoes, you wouldn't be complaining, because he gonna grow out of them. Then I'm gonna go get him some new shoes. Like, I had Shaq shoes when I was a kid. Don't get twisted. I had Nikes and stuff like that too, but that was a lot more when I got older. Like when I say older, like 12, 13. Even then, I'm still growing, but it was different than coming in at 6, where you know they're gonna be out of it in 2 months because they growing. It was like, yo, like, so these parents, y'all want to give kids shit y'all never had. Why don't you give them shit like, you know, education that you never had? Don't fuck these schools, fuck these shoes and shit like that. Fuck the chains, fuck the wearing Prada and shit, just so the kid could go and say, yeah, I'm wearing Prada, when kids don't even care about none of that shit. And if they do care about that shit, that's from the parents' fault. Because parents care about stupid ass shit like that. My kid got to be in the best designer. He got to have this. He got to have that. Motherfucker, ask your kid and ask him if he care about the best designer, or if he care that mommy and daddy are together when he come home. And I guarantee you, he gonna say, I'd rather have mommy and daddy together than the fucking designer. But anyway, let's move on.
But you're crying over buying a pack of pencils and some notebooks and maybe some Kleenex. Can we be effing for real? It's the same thing every year with you guys, and it's always the same culprits, the same people we see in Walmart acting up, on Spirit Lines cutting up, on the Carnival Cruises being loud and ratchet, the same folks that are offended by everything and ashamed of nothing. And now they're the ones complaining. But Charleston White describes this type of person perfectly. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
Black people offended with everything except the condition that they live in. Everything offends black people except their reality and their condition that they live in. They ignore the reality and they ignore their conditions only to be offended by everything else. But look at their neighborhoods, look at their houses, look at their family life, look at the conditions of them, their children, and the parents of the children.
This why, look, I agree and I disagree with him. And the reason why I agree with him is because, yes, part of that is true for a certain people, but when he's starting to say, you know, look at the family, look at the this and that and blah blah blah, not a lot of people, and I don't believe this, and I never believed this, you know, maybe this was true back in the 70s, the 80s, the 60s, but a lot of people of our hue and melanin don't come from the ghetto. You know, the people that's being born now, some of them do. And the ones that are from the ghetto, you know, they got TikTok and they're very vocalized, and negativity breeds more energy for whatever reason than positivity. But I believe the ones that are growing up in 2-parent households and are, you know, on a good footing and stuff, they just don't get on the internet and talk all that bullshit. So people don't gravitate towards them because they ain't got no bullshit to spew. And we sit up there and say, oh, look at this, and look at that, and look at that. But look at, there's neighborhoods I've seen that are full black, you know, and I don't like using that word. So full melanated, full, you know, our skin tone dark, and they keep them up. I've seen them. I've lived in them. So our problem is we glorify too much of the ratchet shit, and then we try to make it seem like that's 85% of the community. No, that's not true. It's more like 25% of the community. Just like most black people, most, again, I don't like using that word, most melanated people in America, like I always like to say, I believe, say 70% ain't never been to jail. They might have a speeding ticket, a parking ticket, something like that, but they ain't doing no crimes. They ain't robbing people. People try to make it seem like it's 75% to 25%. Like, oh, only 25% of us ain't doing no crimes. That's not true. That's not true. Because even if you know something about gangs, there are gangbangers that don't commit no fucking crimes. They're just in the gang because whatever, they did this. I want to be a part of it, but they don't do no bullshit. They don't do no crimes. I've heard of the stories. I've talked to people. I might have did something one time to get me a part of it, but I ain't with that. So we gotta do better. And my opinion is the degenerate society should not lead our people. Our people should not be led off of degenerates. You know, there's a degenerate society in every ethnicity. Chinese got it. White people got it. Puerto Ricans got it. Dominicans got it. Mexicans got it. You know, whatever it is. But for us, they only talk about us with degenerates. And we do that too. That's why they sit up there talking about all this black fatigue, and bullshit and shit like that. And that's why I say it's not real, because I'm not worried about the degenerates. Degenerates got nothing to do with me. That's on them. They got to deal with that. I'm with the well-mannered brothers, the people that know how to act in public, the people that teach their kids how to fucking read and write and arithmetic, the people that want to move the community forward. They're just not all online to spew nonsense. And the ones that are online that lie about they want to move the community forward, we see how they are, like the Jay Morrisons and the Dr. Umars and shit. So, but the ones that's really doing it, they behind the scenes and they quiet because they actually getting shit done. That's all I'm saying.
Children. They're at odds with each other. They hate each other. They fight with one another. But everything is offensive. But they don't change nothing. Even the stuff that offends them, they don't change nothing. Black people opinions only matter on social media. But in real life and in the real world, nobody really pays us any attention anymore because we've been crying wolf too long. And we inflict worse conditions on each other. So it's hard for people to take us serious.
And somehow it's people like myself and people like Charleston White who get stuck calling this out and get called every name in the book in the process. We're going to get into this. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I am Carmen JC. If you want to support the channel, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, tap the super thanks, or hit the buy me a coffee link below, because I do this all on my own because somebody has got to do it. Let's get into what's going on. All right, guys, I am going to hold your hand when I tell you this. These kids cannot read, okay? The kids can't read. Our country is in steep decline when it comes to literacy. And when we lose literacy, we lose common sense. That's why we're seeing all this crazy behavior online or in real life, because they can't critically think. They cannot problem solve, and they don't have anyone holding them accountable. Now, let's just take a look at some of these headlines. Opinion: the United States has a literacy problem. The Washington Square News, the New York.
They're coming to school. They've seen it. They can't read.
A little long, but I think it's really important. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
These kids can't read. They can't decode. They have no vocabulary, no background knowledge. I've never seen anything like it. They can't write a sentence. They don't know what state they live in. They don't know what region of the country they're in. They have no background knowledge. Most of them don't know who the president is. They're coming to school with no background knowledge. They have very low skills. And yes, part of my job is to help them find those skills. And as a special education teacher, I'm obviously going to be working with students who require specialized instruction, but I'm not talking about specifically my students. I'm talking about students in the grade, period. And this was the case last year. They can't take notes. They can't even attend to a video. They can't even attend to a 3-minute video clip. I can play it. I can tell them what it's going to be about. I can summarize what the video did, and not a single one can tell me what the video was about.
Breathe. Let's take a moment to unpack. So I'm not really understanding why they're not telling y'all. We all know that the world is behind, globally, because of the pandemic and stuff. But I don't understand why they're not stressing to y'all how bad it is. I'm not even trying to be funny, but these kids are. I'm gonna just say this: I teach 7th grade. They are still performing on the 4th grade level.
That's bad.
I don't care how you flip it, turn it, swing it, swindle it. They still performing on the 4th grade level. Ain't nobody talking about how they just keep moving, passing them on. They just keep passing them on. I can put as many zeros in this grade book as I want to. They're gonna move that child to the 8th grade next year.
I teach at one of the more affluent schools. When I tell you that these babies cannot read, they cannot write, and they cannot comprehend, I'm not being funny.
You know what? I wanted to pause because I'm happy that he said it. because it's not just happening in the bad sectors. It's happening in one of the in the more affluent communities too. I've seen it. I worked in an affluent community. I still work in an affluent community, not as a teacher or anything like that, but I've seen kids not know fucking words, not know regular fucking words, how to spell and shit. And then, but they'll know every fucking song on that shit and all those fucking words and everything and rapping it and know every fucking lyric. But when it comes to simple shit, they don't know how to do that. They don't know where they live at. They don't know where they stay at. I've seen it. They don't know what, like he said, what region of the country this is. They don't know nothing about no fucking history. So, yeah, I agree with him on that. It's not just in the ghetto areas like people would think. It's in the affluent areas, too.
I'm being dead serious. It doesn't exist. I have kids constantly asking me, how do I spell window? How do I spell important? How do I spell though? And they be serious. They're dead serious.
Though was horrible.
I could ask them, who is the main character of your story? The story of 4-paragraph story we just read. Can't tell you. They don't know.
That's bad.
They don't know. They don't know.
I mean, they don't read. They don't read.
4 weeks. 4 weeks to get through how to answer a question in a complete sentence.
And just in case you think I'm over exaggerating this, I'm going to show you a couple more because, yeah, it wasn't just 1 or 2 teachers saying it. It was multiple. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few more teachers.
And basically, whenever I say kids can't read, they are reading at either a kindergarten or a first grade level. When it comes to spelling, I'm seeing a lot of children who can't even spell the word said, for, mother, father in the 4th or 5th grade, which makes me wonder what's going to happen when they're in middle school and high school.
The fact that I have 4th graders who cannot read independently at all is just like, one, what am I supposed to do? Because teachers are not miracle workers. If I'm required to teach 4th grade standards, the 4th grade standards do not include me teaching phonics. Now, I understand RTI, MTSS process, and different safety nets like that. But doing that for 30 minutes a day is not going to solve the problem. So what is really the expectation? Are we just going to continue to fail the students and not teach them how to read? Like, what is...
I know all last week, all over social media, you saw nothing but teachers talking about how elementary and middle school kids are reading 4 years below grade level. Well, as a high school teacher, I'm here to inform you that high school kids are doing way worse. They are reading 6 years below grade level. The only difference is a whole heap of these kids are going to graduate at the end of this school year. And we are expecting them to go to college and obtain jobs when they cannot even comprehend basic skills, which is why we probably see a problem with employers finding employees. There are literally high school kids reading on a 3rd grade reading level, and still states are expecting teachers to prepare.
I like that point a little bit. That she says, you know, the kids not being able to read, write, and arithmetic can be a reason why employers can't find employees. Like, I get what you're saying, but come on now. We've all had, my grandfather had a 3rd grade education and was able to drive trucks and make a good living to feed 5 kids and take care of my grandmother, you know. So it's not like they can't still work and be a good employee. You know, there's other countries where you stop going to school after the 5th grade, 6th grade, because we can't afford to send you to school anymore. You got to start working, you know, after the 8th grade, whatever, you got to start working, you know. So we can't use that as an excuse. You know, with them being bad employees or not feeding a fucking family and shit like that and taking care of themselves. But we can say that of us being a first world country, this should not be happening. We should be way higher and doing way better.
Our kids and have them pass state tests are on or above grade level. See, the issue is schools have dumbed it down for kids. They have made it so easy that kids believe that their only job is to show up and behave, and that should be enough to.
It's not kids believing that, it's the parents believing that and instilling that in their kids. It's not kids believing that their only job is to show up and behave and they'll be good. It's the parents telling them that your only job in school is to get there, stay there, behave, and then leave. No, you got to also ask questions. You got to put in time and read the shit, not just read what they tell you to read. Read the chapter before, read the chapter after it. Actually understanding what you don't understand, ask questions about it, learn about it. You remember things. Like, the parents are instilling them that that's all they got to know. Like, no, you got to actually learn in school. The parents should be asking them, what did you learn today? My parents asked me, what did I learn today? And sometimes, actually, I always had an answer for them. It wasn't until I got older, and then I was like, it was a good day. But at that point, they had already known. My grades had already shown who I was. So, I may have not wanted to answer what I learned, blah, blah, blah. It was a good day. But I had already shown, I have an understanding. I know this, I got that. And I done had times where my grades done been lower. B, C's. And then I done had times when my grades done been straight A's. So, but my father and my mother instilled, hey, ask questions. You don't understand, find out more. My pops made certain subjects easy. I remember when I had a hard time with history, and he came in, he said, hey, all history is dates and times. If you could remember that, you're great. And then and that was when I was like 7 or 8. I remember. And it always stuck with me. And ever since then, history even been fucking easy. It's just dates and times. I can remember that. All right, this happened when 1491. All right, this happened when 1628. Oh, okay. But also, I see my mother reading. I see my father reading. They're still learning. They always say, my father always say, you can learn from anyone at any time, at any point during the day. Just because people like to believe like, oh, I'm older than you, I can't learn from you. Or I'm at the point where I'm too old, I'm out of school. I don't need to learn no more. That's not true. You're still learning. Education is education, not just the formal way. My father always say, get education, not just necessarily the formal way. There's many ways to get an education. There's many ways to learn, but you can't stop learning. But let's bring this back to the high school and the employees. There's no reason why, just because they're saying that they're not reading at a high school level or something, that they can't work a job and take care of their family. That is something else. Because you just said that they learn to show up to school and behave. They should be able to show up to the job and behave and take care of their family.
To get a passing grade and to go on to the next grade level. We have a real issue here. And please do not talk to me about graduation rates, because Bugs Bunny could graduate in this era. Make it make sense.
And you can clearly see that this is a major problem. And they didn't just say this was specific to the Black community, but based off the statistics I just showed you, it's happening at an alarming rate in the Black community. So what does that tell us? That tells us that we should be more focused on education rather than how we look. And that is the problem with Black culture. Black culture at this point is completely inverted. If it is bad for the culture, Black people celebrate it. And that's why I find so disgusting about Black culture.
That's not true. That's not true. See, and this is exactly why I say I wouldn't use the term Black, because in my opinion, everything Black is bad. And that's just based on the definitions, not the definitions that they fucking changed to it. If you go back to the etymology of the word, it'll change your mindset. But anyway, we shouldn't be calling ourselves black. And I don't go off of, there's not all black. If you want to go off of this fucking term, even though you sit up there and say that you're oppressed by this person, you're oppressed by these people oppressed us in history and they started calling us that. So if they started calling us that and they oppressed us and they called us that shit, why you keep calling yourself by that fucking name? Use a different fucking term to call yourself by, something better. You know what I mean? But y'all motherfuckers keep saying black, keep trying to switch bad terms to be good terms and shit like that. Like that ever worked. But anyway, like not all of the melanated culture is bad. Just the certain parts that y'all feed into, that even I feed into sometimes. But there's a lot of parts of the melanated culture that is great, that is good. And like, change what you listening to is one. You can't always listen to that rap ass shit. You can't always listen to that super drill crazy ass shit. You know, I got a friend and we was riding in the car and I like to listen to the news. And the news is exactly everything in them rap songs. Kill, murder, death, rob, something like that. But they, you know, it's not no beat behind it. And my boy was like, hey man, why don't you turn this bullshit off and turn on Dirk? And I was like, Dirk and this is talking about the same shit. And this dude, he normally, you know, he just said something, blah, blah, blah. He sat for a second. And he was like, you right. He's like, you right, bro. He's like, I don't normally say that, but you right. You know what I mean? The news and Dirk, they are talking about the same shit. I was like, the only reason you like Dirk is because it got a beat behind it and it seemed cool. But this is all the same shit. But we got to change what we're listening to because there's also a lot of good out there. We got to listen to some jazz. Listen to some, you know what I mean? Listen to something else. Listen to some pop. Listen to some country, man. Change what you're listening to. Stop feeding into all that drill, kill, murder shit when, you know, these motherfuckers murder people on the outside and then be locked up with the motherfuckers that they didn't want to be with on the outside, and now they be cool with them on the inside because they got 100 years and they ain't got no choice to be cool but to be cool with them. Just stop feeding into all that bullshit. It's cool to listen.
That's why I feel the need to say these things about Black culture. Just look at this picture right here. Look at these students, these Black kings and queens. Look at them. And you can see a billion things wrong with this picture. First of all, why do these little girls have on wigs? And not just any wigs. These are blonde wigs, okay? And these are the main people that's telling and trying to say who can wear braids and who can't. But they're walking around with these blonde wigs on, flexing money. And
we're gonna fast forward from this, but I agree with what she's saying. Like, but this is a certain type of people. This is a certain subsection of the culture. This is not everybody's kids and shit like that. This is not everybody's dark-skinned kids and shit like that. This is a certain subsection of the culture. And it should not be all of them, you know, these is all kids, is what she said. So all of them is not dressed like fucking kids. You know what I mean? From the dudes to the women, all of y'all is not dressed like fucking kids. And it's really like, what the fuck, man? Put on some, I don't know, something else, man. They dressing like maybe, I don't know, this dude look real young, man. Real young right here. Feel me? And he not dressed like a kid, got the pocket, got all the money and shit like that. And I know that's not all their money. They got the money from somewhere else. Somebody gave them the money to take the picture with, whatever. But maybe they is really hustling out there. But they just all don't look like kids, man. But maybe that's, and it's not even kids in this era, because my nieces and nephews didn't dress like that and shit like, so they don't dress like that now. But I don't know, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, but you're right. They all got the blonde wigs on, and then they got this silver wig here. I mean, it's a lot of dreadheads in Jersey, so I mean, I ain't saying nothing about the dreads, but I ain't gonna lie though. The shoes straight, man. The shoes straight right here. They go with the pants. Shit straight. This shit match too right here. This shit solid right here, bro. But he don't look like a kid, man. I don't know. He looked like he put a hurting on somebody. And he definitely looked like a kid. That's why they put him in the back. All right. Run it.
Say who can wear braids and who can't, but they're walking around with these blonde wigs on, flexing money, and you can tell they just do not care about learning. They care about how they look, and they are focused on everything they probably should not be focused on. Why are you guys okay with your children behaving like little hoodlums? I just need to know this because this photo speaks 1,000 words, and none of them are positive. This is why people look at us like we're degenerates. This is why people treat Black
See, that's the problem with. Hold on, let me finish.
people the way they get treated because of how we treat ourselves. You don't
Yeah, see, that's that bullshit. I can't agree with that. I can't agree with that logic. I never agree with that logic because they don't say that about no fucking other ethnicity except Black. And again, I don't like that term. They need to come up with something better. But they don't say that about nobody fucking else. And everybody else got a fucking degenerate ass side, but we got a degenerate ass side, and our shit, everybody else has to be treated like that. That doesn't make no fucking sense. I mean, you're able to treat a person like a person, you know what I mean, until they show you. But because we're darker skinned, we have to be treated like the worst people in the world because that's the pictures that they see and shit. That doesn't even make any fucking sense. What are you talking about? You don't sit up there and treat every Mexican like he's from the cartel. You don't sit up there and treat every Cuban like he knows Castro and shit like that. You don't treat every German like they racist and they Hitler. But every Black person has to be treated like these Tupac. Get the fuck out of here. That don't even make no goddamn sense. I wish people would make it make sense one time, but they can't. And if you do treat them like that, then there's something wrong with you. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. It's something wrong with you. Nobody goes around and treats every Indian like they're Gandhi. You treat the Indian like he's the Indian and not like he's the Indian, like he is who he is. Some motherfuckers steal, some motherfuckers rob, some motherfuckers good people, some motherfuckers take care of their family and shit like that. You don't treat every Indian like he Gandhi because Gandhi was all about peace and shit like that. Every Indian not about peace. Some motherfuckers will run up and punch you in their face. You don't treat every cop like they're the worst just because they're a cop. Just because you heard stories about somebody else in some other fucking state, but you done grown up seeing this cop walk across the street. You ain't never had an issue with this cop. He always around and shit like that. So because somebody else had killed somebody or heard something in a different state, you gonna start treating him weird? But he always looked out for you and made sure you was good. Come on now. But because we Black, we got to get treated like we fucking rappers and degenerates and shit like that, and we shooting and killing everybody. That don't even make no sense, man. Because that's the pictures they see. That's what, and this is the shit they talk about, Black fatigue. Y'all motherfuckers are too into everybody else, man. Worry about your goddamn self. Because none of that shit should be fatiguing you. Why would it fatigue you what somebody else do? I can only control what I do and impart ways into my family and make us better. I can only control us. And I mean, y'all trying to control everybody. That's not how that works. You can't control everybody. Some people gonna be on the degenerate side, and some people not gonna be on the degenerate side. That's how the fuck that go.
Respect yourselves, you don't respect your children, and you don't respect anything, or you don't teach your children anything. And that's why we grow up and behave like monsters. And what's disgusting about this is they're just mimicking the behavior they've seen their parents do, or they've seen adults do around them. They're
Agreed.
mimicking what they see. This is how disgusting these parents are, raising children in dysfunction, behaving like this around them, and not caring what they say in front of their children. I already showed you last week with the parents stealing and doing degenerate things around their children, and it is reflecting in exactly these type of situations. Now, only in the Black community do you have children all over this country who can't read, act like degenerates, have behavioral issues, and somehow still get rewarded with designer clothes. Parents are letting them walk around feeling like what they're doing is okay. And here's the kicker. These parents behave just like their children. They have the same attitude, the same ignorance, and the teachers are the ones stuck dealing with it.
Parents
That's gotten
make
so
them.
bad that some of these parents are actually complaining about buying school supplies. I am not kidding. Go ahead and take a listen to this. Take a listen.
I seen a post where this woman was saying, stop putting y'all names on the kids' school supplies because it's just not for your kids. I don't have money to help Sally, John, Lucy. Baby, my money, what I spend on for my kids is just for my kids. Everybody is going through. We don't have the.
If you didn't, I'm pretty sure the way this parent is talking, she brought that kid some designer shit. Not to profile nobody, but it'd be that way. She could have spent, you know what I mean? First of all, why are you putting your kids' names on this shit? Like, on like pencils and shit? Like, hey, man, motherfucker need a pencil, give him a pencil. What are you talking about here?
Have the money to be trying to help other households. On top of that, y'all be putting stuff on the list for the teacher. My kids' list got 4 boxes of Kleenexes. Imagine every single kid in a classroom of 20 bring 4 boxes of Kleenex.
Oh, that's ignorant.
On top of the Lysol spray and wipes. It is insane how they don't understand everybody is still going through. Everybody is going through something. I feel like people who are in position to help, I'm pretty sure they don't mind helping. But it's a lot of us that can only do for our kids. These my kids that I had, that my responsibility ain't no other kid my responsibility. It is my job to make sure my kids have everything that they need for school, and that's it. So anything on that list outside of that, I'm not sure I'm be able to do it, baby.
Now, when I ask y'all this, I am not being funny, but is y'all cool? Is y'all okay? Because the way that some of y'all are acting like it's going to be you that is going to be helping Johnny, Sally, and Lucy, as if those are the underprivileged kids we're talking about. No, you're going to be helping DeMarcus, okay? Jamal, Davion, okay? Because it's only Black people on this app, majority Black, doing all this complaining every single time. And the fact that these parents are out here crying about Kleenex boxes that cost $1 at Dollar Tree, or basic school supplies that's probably $50 total, but somehow have no problem spending $80 to $150.
I agree with what you're saying, but it's $1.25 at Dollar Tree now.
On these ridiculous spray ground backpacks is insane. Not to mention that they send their children to school with them only to find out that the schools are requiring clear backpacks, so they can't even use them. And instead of admitting that they wasted their money, they're still mad about actual school supplies their kids need to learn. Now, who cares what it looks like as long as your children has what they need? Like, that is all that matters. This is absolutely ridiculous, but somehow there's zero outrage over the fact that your children can't read. I can't tell you how upsetting this is to me, but I don't even think I need to say anything, because this next TikToker, he's going to hit the head on the nail. Okay, and he's going to give you guys my exact thoughts. So go ahead and take a listen.
I bet not see not now another black ass parent come on this motherfucking app and complain about a school supply list. Because if that's the fucking case, take that snotty nose, ratchet, ghetto, loud ass, not having no type of supplies, or broken ass backpack ass kid out the motherfucking school and homeschool that motherfucking kid your own goddamn self, bitch. These kids be in that classroom with that teacher more than they be with your motherfucking ass because your ass either at work or outside in the motherfucking streets. And y'all get mad because this teacher need a motherfucking extra roll of tissue, need some Kleenex, need some fucking pencils, need some fucking binders, need some fucking paper in their fucking classroom. Bitch, you ought to be happy you got a fucking free daycare. You get enough free shit any motherfucking way. Your kids sharing a motherfucking school bus. Why the fuck they can't share motherfucking paper? I'll be the same motherfuckers that get on here complaining about having a fucking community, having a support system. Same motherfuckers on here complaining about being a single fucking parent. How the fuck you think the teacher feel? They already getting fucking underpaid. Dealing with your fucking kid. You had your kid all summer and they got on your motherfucking nerves. And these teachers finna be with these kids longer than you fucking had them in the motherfucking summer. So the least you can fucking do is get them some supplies. Get them some shit to clean the classroom with. Hell, send them some fucking cupcakes. Send them a fucking box of pizza. Send them some lunch money, a gift card, something, bitch. All y'all give a fuck about is popping pussy and slanging dick. That's all y'all care about. Don't even care about how your fucking kids feel, bitch, because it's not a good feeling going to school without enough supplies. Broken ass backpacks. Gotta ask the fucking teacher for a pencil on the first day. Ask the teacher for some paper on the first day of fucking school. Ask your friend, all your friends around your fucking kids got all this paper, but you ain't got shit. It's not a good fucking feeling, bitch. It's not. I just seen a video of a parent on here demanding that teachers go to these fucking free school supply drives and get kids some fucking free school supplies. Bitch, that's your kid.
Right.
It's your fucking kid. Y'all have gotten away with bare minimum for long fucking enough. Y'all want to get away with bare minimum ass shit for 18 years and put these kids out your fucking house and let them go to fucking school, college, graduate college, get a good job, and then there you go with your hand out for fucking money. You black parents make me the fuck sick. I can't fucking stand you bitches.
I can't even tell you. I 100% agree with everything he just said and this next TikToker as well. Go ahead and take a listen.
Money spreads on the first day of school and the kids can't read. I'm confused. Designer clothes on the first day of school, but the kids can't read. If 2 + 2 = 4, what the y'all need to take them school clothes back to the store until them first progress reports drop. Until then, I don't understand why the kids walk around in designer, but they can't spell. And then I'm really trying to figure out what's going on with these parents because y'all was just on the internet the other day complaining about, oh, we can't afford this school supplies, this, that, and the third. But then the kids show up on the first day of school in designer. What's really going on? They need to be pulling up to class with some designer school supplies. What are you talking about? Some designer books, some designer protractors. I don't understand why they're pulling up in some Prada this, Prada that, Versace this, Versace that. You know what I'm saying? All this designer stuff, but they can't spell. The priorities, like
now, if I was a parent, I would have the attitude of this next young lady. Let's go ahead and take a listen to her.
All right, last one.
And I don't care if my son teacher asks for a new engine, transmission, and alternator for her car. I'm going to get it for you. You said what? How much was it? Okay, I'm going to give it to you in 4 installments. Okay, baby? Y'all making jokes about the bus needing 4 new tires. Guess what? You say you need 4 new tires. Nah, Johnny, if you're gonna be out here at 6:45 for real this time, because I'm sick of you being late, man. If you got the new tires, there's no reason for you to be slipping and sliding past this stop. All right. Don't get me wrong. I get it. Money tight. And if you can't afford to get the stuff, then just, hey, I can't afford to get that. I'm sorry, I can't get the extra material. But, baby, if you got a little extra scratch, ask that teacher what her favorite coffee is. You know what it's like dealing with your child. You just dealt with your child for 2 months. You know what it's like. And them people with them for 6, 7, 8 hours a day. Baby, that's your school, son. You need to step up and do your responsibilities. All I'm saying is I'm not going to be one of the parents that complain. I know my child hyper. You said you need a coffee to keep up with him. I heard you loud and clear. Y'all pay over $100 for a pair of shoes, but won't get some extra supplies.
And that's exactly the mindset you should have as a parent.
Yeah, I agree. You shouldn't be paying over $100 for shoes and won't get no supplies. Only pay for $20, $25 for some ASIC shoes, and then go get some extra supplies, man. That'll do it right there. What?
The Trump administration is making moves to prevent people on SNAP and EBT from being able to use those food benefits on things like soda, candy, sugary drinks, and just altogether junk foods. Now, many are upset, saying that this is not fair, that poor people should be able to.
First of all, that's my girl Amala. You know what I mean? She be doing the shit. You know what I mean? She just got back into it. You know what I mean? And then secondly, I've been looking into this motherfucking welfare shit, and then people been talking about that shit on TikTok and shit like that. It's been stupid shit. Like we should be able to get our shit, honey buns and shit like that. Shut the fuck up, man. These motherfuckers be dumb. But all right, let's go into this video. I never seen it. Let's react to it.
To buy soda and junk food on their EBT and SNAP cards, and we should talk about that. So let's do it.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. Yesterday, we're talking about the idea that people should be able to buy junk food and sugary drinks and sodas on their EBT and SNAP cards. Now, to me, it's a no-brainer. This should not be allowed. My taxpayer dollars that are going towards people who are on these food benefit programs should not go towards things like Snickers bars and Gushers. I don't know. It seems pretty simple, but this has got a lot of people up in arms. So first we're going to hear from RFK, and then we're going to get into some responses and reactions to this new move.
Her changes to the SNAP program are emblematic of that commitment. SNAP, we're spending $405 million a day on SNAP, and about 10% is going to sugary drinks. And between, and if you add candies to that, it's about 13 to 17%. And we all believe in free choice. We live in a democracy. People can make their own choice about what they're going to buy and what they're not going to buy. If you want to buy a sugary soda, you ought to be able to do that. But the U.S. taxpayer should not pay for it. And the U.S. taxpayer should not be paying to feed kids foods, the poorest kids in our country, with foods that are going to give them diabetes. And then my agency ends up through Medicaid and Medicare paying for those injuries. We're going to put an end to that. And we're doing it step by step, state by state.
And there you go. It is as simple as that. Again, I believe this to be a no-brainer. It makes no sense that our taxpayer dollars that are going towards these benefit programs should be spent on, again, Snickers bars, Gushers, like junk food, any sort of sugary drink, anything that's going to be super unhealthy. And that doesn't mean that these individuals can't go around and have something sweet or create something sweet. We have things called ingredients. There are ingredients in the stores. So you have that option. And I like that he says, you know what, if you are going to go out and you want the choice to be able to buy something sugary or buy junk food, you have that choice, but you must do that with your own money. Taxpayer dollars should not be sent towards those sorts of purchases. And it's really that simple. And now I believe 12.
Well, he said more than that. He said more than that. He said then it comes back around and then you got to get Medicaid and you get diabetes. And right now we're having kids with the highest obesity rate and shit like that. And it's a whole big back society. So, yes, you can't, if you want to go get it, go buy it, but not off of EBT. Use EBT to get you the shit you need, like eggs, milk, sugar, and you can go make you a cake and shit like that. You feel me? Go get you some flour and you can go ahead and make you a cake and have you a whole big back society then. But you can't just go buy zebra cakes and shit. If you want to buy zebra cakes, go take your ass up there with $3, but you don't gonna put it on EBT. So it makes sense. They're like, oh, what about people that can't get the cheap food? They can't get potato chips. Motherfucker, there's certain things called potatoes. And you slice them really thin and you put them in the oven or you fry them. Throw some barbecue seasoning on them. You got barbecue chips, man. And them shits is fire. Better than anything, any Lace or some dumbass shit you can buy.
states, at least at the time that I'm filming this, have signed on to this initiative, which means this is going to go into effect, I believe, come 2026. So not
Yeah.
quite yet, but I'm going to show you how some people are responding to this. One lady, after hearing the news, decided to go to Sam's and start racking up a grocery list full of junk food.
Got some animal crackers for $8.98. So we just gonna grab one of these. So yeah, my kids like Nutri-Grain bars, so they for a box of 30 seeds for $9.98. So we're gonna grab that. We're gonna put it on. So yeah, we already started shopping. So we got some chips.
Let me pause. Just look at that cart.
Right.
I see Nutter Butters, Honey Buns, Hostess Snacks, Blow Pops, just junk food after junk food after junk food after junk food, and then 2 kids just sitting in the front. And all of that's going to be paid for with your tax dollars. How do you guys feel about that? You guys feel good about that? I don't know. Let's keep watching for just a little.
It's not even the tax dollars. I mean, that's a big part of it. Don't get me twisted, but yeah, it's just the unhealth to the kids. It's the unhealthiness. It's the unhealthiness, man.
A little bit longer.
Some blow pop for the kids, some little bites, some hot chips, some fruit snacks, some gushers, some powdered donuts, oatmeal pies, some honey buns, and yeah, so let's get it. I think that frontier.
I didn't hear.
And they already look big backish. They already look big backish.
Food, and then 2 kids
starting
just
to-
sitting in the front, and all of that's going to be paid for with your tax dollars. How do you guys feel about that? You guys feel good about that? I don't know. Let's keep watching for just a little bit longer.
Some blow pop for the kids, some little bites, some hot chips, some fruit snacks, some gushers, some
I
powdered
wasn't
donuts,
big backish because I
oatmeal
was.
pies, some honey buns, and yeah, so let's get it. I think that frontier.
I didn't hear a single thing listed that sounds even a teensy weensy bit nutritious. Not one thing. Can you imagine? And it's one thing, that we'll look and see people who are making these choices for their kids and go, okay, well, that's the choice you're making for your kids. You're spending your own money on that. But then you find out it's not their own money. It's benefits that they're receiving from the government, which means it's your money. I mean, it's simple. Kids shouldn't be eating like that, period. But if they are, you better be paying for it, not me. And of course, as these changes have rolled out, many are going to the store with their EBT cards and trying to purchase things like sodas and realizing they can't. Here's a clip.
Hey, y'all, so I'm at Sam's Club and I brought a case of Baja Blast Mountain Dew and Pepsi. I use my EBT card and it says not eligible. Can we try it again? Yeah, we can try it again.
Why people put too much shit on social media. Just entirely too much shit on social media.
Oh, thank you. This is crazy.
There you go. This is crazy. My government benefits do not cover soda and sugary drinks anymore. And when RFK is talking about the numbers on that when we factor in the purchase of sugary drinks and junk foods and things like that, we're looking at like 17% of the funding that we use in these programs. That's insane. And if you can cut that out, not only are you going to be doing better for, American taxpayers, but you're going to be doing better for the people who are on these food benefits. You should be, sort of ushered towards healthier food choices. And if you want to make unhealthy choices, as we all do, I'm not saying I do not eat junk food or drink a sugary drink every now and then. I'm saying you should be able to pay for that. Or, if you can't, you should be wanting to work towards a life where you can pay for that, I guess. That wouldn't be the first thing on my priority list, but nonetheless, I should not be paying for it. Now we're going to get into some responses here from people who are.
It's funny she say that's not the first thing on your priority list, but I've met people that have been like, I always got to have money, you know what I mean? Because I got to have a can of Coke. I'm like, what? Yeah, nah, I always got Coke in my house, bro. You know what I mean? They talking about the soda, you know what I mean? Like, I met people like that. Like, I always got to have this in my house. I always got to have that in my house, in my kitchen. So that motivates people, it's not a full part of it, but it's part of it. I met people that have been like, I always want burgers and fries, and you gotta, it get more expensive over time. So I gotta make more money and shit like that to always have burgers and fries whenever I want to go to the spot and get burgers and fries, for $30 and shit. So, whatever motivates you to live life and get better, do your thing.
Quite upset about this change, and they feel as though they are entitled to junk food purchases on EBT and SNAP.
Y'all are about to find out that food stamps don't buy candy anymore. Not soda, not ice cream, not a little sweet treat to get you through the hard week. None of that anymore. Y'all was so hyped talking about that big, beautiful bill and finally having some responsibility, talking about they're going to crack down on waste. But now when you go to the grocery store to get that Snickers bar with that EBT card, denied. The 2-liter, denied. That pint of Ben and Jerry's after a hard day, gone.
And let me go ahead and pause because that is quite literally cracking down on waste. I mean, I don't know how else you put it. Let's return.
The joy, gone. But hey, at least billionaires are still getting tax breaks, right? It's interesting when they want to cut costs and get things in line, they always go to the poor people first. God forbid somebody poor wants a soda to go with their ramen. You wanted fiscal responsibility, but you ended up with a government that decided they don't even want you to have a piece of candy. And it's not going to stop there. It never does. Soon it'll be no meat. Then they're going to decide that poor people probably can't have seasoning either. So to all the MAGA people who cheered for this bill, when you're standing in line and that ice cream don't go through, just remember, it wasn't the woke mob that did that. It was your own people. You asked for this. Now, eat your sadness plain, room temp, no sugar.
Okay. I mean, they always try to like call out MAGA people or people who voted for Trump.
I think she was joking at the end, but I had never seen that. She went on a whole different, she went on one side and she went to the other side, but the other side, white people do use EBT, and they did vote for Trump. But black people voted for Trump too. But this is part of the hey, we gotta get better. But I think part of it was sarcasm at the end.
This is quite literally what they voted for. This is what they asked for. So this should be of no shock or surprise to anybody who was involved with this movement or who cared about making America healthy again. This was quite literally on the list. And if you want candy or soda or some sort of sugary junk food, you can buy that with your own.
Look, they still gonna make it. They still gonna sell it here. It's not like other countries where they stop selling certain ingredients and certain products. They still gonna sell it here, so you just gotta go buy it with your own money. You just gotta work and then go buy it with your own dollars instead of EBT.
Money, and all that's going to take is what, a dollar or two. I'm pretty sure people can manage that. And guess what, when you go to the grocery store, there are things called ingredients. Okay, we can cook these things, we can make these things. You want a cake, you want to make yourself a different version of a Hostess snack, go get the ingredients and bake that cake, make that Hostess snack. And guess what, it's actually going to be healthier than the thing you would buy at the grocery store. We're going to continue though, because there's more. Here's a girl who's very upset about this new EBT change.
So dumbfounded right now. There are people that genuinely think that people who use EBT don't deserve soda, candy, or desserts. You're going to tell me that my daughter doesn't deserve a popsicle? You're going to tell me I don't deserve to get brownies? You're going to tell me I can't have Dr. Pepper with my dinner? And all I'm hearing is be grateful, be grateful. It's free food. Get off of your throne of entitlement and take a look around you guys. Everyone is one bad.
Yeah, it's funny that she says we're entitled, but the statement that she's making is entitlement. Like, it's EBT off of the taxpayers that are paying into EBT that are working. And all they're saying is instead of buying popsicles, which your daughter can have, is what you said, you can go get the ingredients and make popsicles. It's really not that hard, freeze it and shit like that. 12 hours later, she can have that. Or you can go to the store and get brownie mix and make the brownie mix. Like, they're not stopping you from having. People only see it one way. They're not stopping you from having it. You just got to go about it a different way. Just go get the ingredients and make it. It's a little bit more time.
bad day away from being homeless or even needing government assistance. Do you guys not
That's
see
not true.
how that makes you look? Your lack of empathy and understanding is outstandingly atrocious.
That's amazing. That's crazy. She's calling out the people who are cheering this on and saying that we have a sense of entitlement. Meanwhile, you feel entitled to buying junk food and garbage on our dime. Our dime. When you see your paycheck, you see that money come out, you see those tax dollars come out. Okay, just know that this woman feels entitled to buying, sugar, candy, and Gushers and Snickers and soda cans from your money, with your money.
Look, she summed it up. I'm gonna end this video right here. Peace to y'all.